Well,
So
if anyone should realize that something's
some
up, it should be Shikamaru. With
yes.
enough time, Shikamaru should realize, and that's something I want to see. I want to see if the time skip is 2 years. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Herbal Synergies, the shop. I'm your host, Sinjay. With me, my co-host, as always, B.
What up?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Same old stuff, just different day.
I
Nah, I mean,
yeah, I wanted to say something clever back, but I drew a blank. Flavor
flavor.
of the
So
week.
yeah, so I've been kicking it down some JoJo's. Forget there was a
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
yeah,
Oh man,
it's
I can't get
truly
into the art
bizarre.
style.
Oh, teach their own. It's not bad, but
Yeah, it's got a
there was
fan base.
yeah. I was like, it got like a whole bunch of seasons. It's a dub, so I ain't got to look at it. I just listen to what's going on, and
Yeah.
so I was like, oh, I was like, okay. So then there's a scene where this woman, Lisa, like I didn't know what happened, but like she was facing this little vampire thing, and she has like this little scarf, and like she throws it, and it like wraps around his neck. He's like, oh, you think it'll stop me? And like he just rips it off, and she's like, oh, come on, Jojo, let's keep going. And I was like, oh, that must have been some sort of attack. And then so she she's end up they explain later she ends up sending Harmon through his body and essentially kills us from the inside out. I was like, ooh, okay. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that was one. I did have some from Buddy Daddies, but that was last week when I had looked at it. But so it couldn't be this week's flavor.
Man, I guess if I have to go with a flavor, since I can't think of anything that impressed me action wise, I'll just go with funny, and it was when the black hair buddy daddy at the very end of the episode goes, I can't have a cat, but you can bring a random kid. Like, he was so
Yeah.
butthurt, and I was just like, damn. Oh man, salty.
Yeah. That's pretty funny.
They have an interesting
Mhm.
dynamic.
They do. Like I was telling you that it was like one of those ones where I wouldn't necessarily call them buddies, but they're more like cohabiting people that just help sharing a kid.
Yeah, he was saying blah blah blah. In our line of work, we can't have people close to us and stuff like that. And obviously, this entire show is gonna be about their relationship with this kid.
Yeah.
So
So
we'll see where it goes from there.
yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, this it it looks like it has some funny potential there.
Mm.
Hopefully we get to the part where you have your anxiety soon. Yeah. But
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was just like it was just me like
anxiety only
predicting what
parents
was
would
going
know.
on.
Let's see, yeah.
But yeah, I guess we could. I guess we could kick things off with high card.
Yeah. All right, we'll kick it off some Carter the High.
All right, episode 7, Love and Fake. So, a gag episode, a gag reel episode that turned into like a heavy episode well, not really heavy, but like it got deep. It got dark. I would say.
Is it really gag episode if you're introducing a new member to the party? Kind of, sort
A
of.
member for how long?
Uh, Till she feels she doesn't want to be there anymore.
Well, it almost seems there might be a love interest there, but like it started off as like a comedic episode, and then it got dark.
Did it get dark, or did it just,
Well, it got real. I'll tell you that much.
or did a cloud just pass overhead?
I don't know if there's a cloud involved, it ain't pass. It's still right overhead.
Yeah,
But
who knows?
we start off the episode and they try to snatch the two of diamonds from this girl, this blonde, and she catches on right away and like pepper sprays poor Finn. That sucked. But after she pepper sprayed him, they're like, "Listen, just give us the card. We'll want the issues. We'll go our separate ways." And she was like, "I think you two need to be closer." And then she like used the two of diamonds and like it made them stick hands with each other. Well,
Yeah,
Chris wasn't fond of this because he had a quote unquote date coming up on the weekend. So apparently this girl was Instagram famous, so they were just tracking her down through Instagram, and she kept giving them the slip. Like they followed her to a pool, they followed her to like a food drive thingy where like she gives people food.
yeah. I'd say I also don't understand why Finn got caught when he be master of slipping up and getting folks. I was like, really? You get caught?
Plot armor.
Yeah.
But
So
or how they let a girl that doesn't like if that's her ability, she shouldn't be able to overpower you guys. How'd you let her put your hands together like that easily?
maybe there's cut off balance.
Possibly, but they just kept chasing her, chasing her, and she finally caught on that like they were tracking her through her Instagram, so she stopped posting stuff.
That's why
So
I don't post nothing.
Finn
I
got
don't want y'all
tired.
tracking me.
They were running
No,
out of
I'm
time,
mad.
and Chris wanted to catch her right away. Stupid.
I mean, it's true though.
Yeah, I don't
That's
be
why
posting nothing.
that's why they tell you if you go on vacation, don't be posting your vacation photos uh, as you're taking them. You like wait till you get back and post them because people look on your media with your friend's account and be like, oh, they're not in the states or oh, they're out of the state,
Yeah, that
and they
house
go
pretty empty.
yeah, and they go run up in your house and take all your stuff.
Can't trust these people.
Yeah, so that's a little word of advice for y'all folks,
Take it to heart, guys. Hold it
for
near and
all
dear.
10 of our listeners.
We have 10.
No, I just made up a random number.
Don't worry, Irby. When this book gets published, we might have more.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Or maybe it would have been disbanded by then.
Nah, I doubt it.
Maybe you might not have time to do that after you blow up.
Nah, I doubt it.
Who knows? But continue.
So Chris was getting impatient, but Finn was getting like, um, it was taking a toll on him, and he really wanted to go home, take a shower, get some rest. So that's when they ended up doing. But Chris stole Finn's bed, and Finn just ended up crashing on a chair, where Finn had a nightmare involving. Can you elaborate what the dream was? I forget.
Essentially, he was it a suit of armor that attacked him, or I'm thinking about another
A
one.
knight, right?
Yeah, it was a knight that would attack him. He was in a fire with a knight that attacked him.
Yeah, and Chris he woke up and like he did the scared thing out of a dream, and Chris asked him had a nightmare, and it's like yeah I have that dream every once in a while. What about you? It's like nah I just can't sleep in with someone else's pillow or blah blah blah. He wasn't comfortable in that bed. So with all that being done, it couldn't be helped. Finn had to join Chris on his quote unquote date, where we meet Michelle, who is Chris's sister. And really early on, you can kind of tell there's like something up with her. It was just like, there's something like wrong with her, isn't there? And like it gets brought out that she has a genetic disorder, and she got it from her mom who died. So Finn makes the note, and I'm like, oh, so Chris is an orphan as well. I was like, yo, Chris is an orphan. I called that out when I accidentally thought Finn was Chris the entire freaking second or third episode. I was like, yo, Chris is an orphan too. But now we find out that he really is an orphan. So
I'm not sure you called that one out. I think you just had them confused.
hey, listen, foreshadowing at its accidental finest.
I think that's I won't call that foreshadowing. I'll just call that a momentary lapse of memory.
I call it a lucky coincidence.
Serendipitous.
The serendipitous.
Yes.
Tis.
But yeah.
But
Continue.
they run into Blondie, and she decides they call her a friend. And Michelle's like, "Oh, can she join us?" And they're like, "No, she's gonna work." Like, "No, I'm gonna join you guys." And she's like, "I'm gonna expose you for the fake you are in front of your sister." I was like, it's kind of harsh, Blondie.
Yeah.
But do you? So they keep spending the day with Michelle and the blonde, whose name I didn't bother to write down for some reason. And
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Yep.
Oh, I did write that down.
Interesting.
Look at me. So they kept on with the trip with Chelsea. They visited the beach, and she was trying to do her best to sabotage Chris, but it wasn't working out. And then at some point, she was just genuinely having fun. It's coming towards the end of the day, and Michelle has to go home, but she wants to ride on a Ferris wheel, and Chris is like, "No, we'll do that another time." It's like, "You always worry," and Finn and Chelsea is like, "Let's just do it." And it's like, "Mind your business, you can't." And in the middle of that, Michelle falls, and it's like, "Oh no, yep, she's sick." So they rush her to the hospital, and it turns out she led Chris to believing that she was doing better, but she's actually getting worse. And at this point, it's only a matter of time until bada bing, bada boom, she's gone. So after she like recovers, they're talking, they're trying to ease her into the just talk to her and see how she's doing. But sorry about that. Someone barged in here. But
No one would have ever known if you didn't say anything.
oh, you didn't hear it?
Nope.
Damn. It caught me off guard. So, they leave her in a room, they leave her to rest, and Chelsea approaches Chris, and she's like, "You okay?" It's like, "Nah, everything's gonna be alright." And she's like, "You're lying." And I was like, "Well, that's what I do. I put on a face, and when this face gets torn apart, I'll just put on another face." And I think, oddly enough, Chelsea began to like Chris a little more, and yeah, so we end the episode knowing that Chris's sister is dying, and Chelsea may or may not have joined the crew.
Yeah. Well, she definitely was working there, but I think she gave that whole spiel about how she was looking for a soulmate, and she's like, "Oh, I'll give you back the card one day when I feel like I don't need it." And I'm like, "Huh." So I think that's important to note there that she's looking for a soulmate.
Well,
And
she is looking for a soulmate, and she has no official place to stay. She just couch hops between her friends' places, and she has like 50 million jobs.
Yeah. And so I was thinking, I was like, when the episode first started, I was like, oh, why is she the two of diamonds if she's like love based? I was like, she should have been like the two of hearts. And then I was thinking about what kind of applicable ability would be sticking people together. I mean, I guess like because they say all the cards' abilities were based on knights that fought during the war. So it's like, huh, what kind of abilities were they fighting with then? I don't know. Maybe they touch swords and they're able to like take the sword from their opponent with it. I don't know. Because I was like, that seems like a kind of useless ability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like it falls in line with like one of the weak cards. Like it's definitely seems more useless than Finn's revolver. I was like,
yeah,
you have to really work for that card to work.
yeah. You got to get real close.
Mm-hmm.
That might have been a good card for like an Indian to have, or I should say Native American, because one of their rites of passage is they got to sneak up and like touch somebody. So like they could probably sneak up on the enemies and make them clap their hands together, and they can never they can't come after you.
Oh,
So
do you think it would work like that? You could just put someone's hands together.
yeah,
It's
because that
interesting.
essentially that's what she did with the two. I think her ability is like taking two forces and putting them together, but she probably can use it more than two. So I don't know.
I guess if she sticks around, we'll find out.
Yeah, and also I was thinking that there was a moment when the sister was like, "Oh, remember when there used to be us three that went up there?" And I was like, "Are you talking about the mother, or did Chris have another sibling that died?" And I was like, "What if Finn and Chris are actually related, but they all just forgot because they have
No,
amnesia?"
I think it was the mom.
Yeah, I would say it was mom, but it wasn't really clear. And then his immortal card, couldn't he just give it to his sister and get a new ability so she could live forever?
She might have to wear the gloves constantly, but it also it also has the card has to take a liking to her.
Yeah, so yeah, that's true, but
But I can tell he hasn't tried it because he didn't want her to know about this life, so she probably doesn't know
yeah,
about cards.
probably doesn't. So yeah, that was one thought I had there. I was like, yeah, you could at least try it and see.
Yeah.
So, but
Then
yeah, so
then he could effectively retire. But what do you want to talk about next, brother man?
uh, shoot, let's get into the Ranga poop, the Ranga rumpa.
That's all you, homie.
Yeah, the Ranga rumpa, the animation prologue. Welcome to Despair, season one, episode one. Yeah, so essentially, this one started off with like this kid that looked like he was in a rocket ship, but it just fails, and then we get the protagonist in there, and Naegi, I think his name. Yeah,
Hmm.
you don't really know from the start, and so he starts talking, and he steps on the campus and immediately blacks out. I think they didn't hypnotize him, but they might hit him with some Cosby or something and knocked him down. And so he wakes up in a classroom. He's all by himself,
This man said some
and
Cosby.
yeah, yeah, knocked that man out. So he crossed the threshold,
Damn.
and then so yeah, so then he has to go to a meeting at like 8. He gets a letter. They're there. It's like, oh, I gotta go meet. So then like everyone starts introducing themselves and who they are. And one of his old classmates is there. And I'm like, oh, okay. So he knows one person. and
Mm-hmm.
then we get introduced to the principal. Is it Mona Kuma, which is actually funny because I started watching another anime, and the mountain bear spirit beast thing is called Monoguma. I was like, oh, so I guess they're bears is that's just like a name for big old troublesome bears.
Homely's voice actor is definitely the same voice actor as Kirito from Sword Art.
Which one you talking about? The main character?
Mm-hmm.
She's also the one from Twin Star Exorcist.
I didn't watch that one in dub. I started
Yeah,
it in sub, and
yeah,
don't remember where I left off, but I definitely stopped.
yeah. Well, they're the same. I was like, oh, I know this voice, and I think the Leon kid, the red haired boy, he's Raditz, and Mondo is Vegeta's voice actor.
I have to like listen to them with my eyes closed. The only reason I noticed Kirito is because he was talking without like him being on the screen, so like I had to picture my own face.
Yeah, well, yeah. Pick up on them real quick. So then the principal tells them that they're in the school and they will be taken care of for approximately the rest of their lives. I'm like, huh, that's nice wording, approximately. So not for the rest of your lives, but just approximately. Meaning how long you live for.
Mm-hmm.
So then he tells them that people can leave if they kill a classmate and walk away free. And I'm like, oh, okay. So
Rude.
you just have to kill and not be caught. And then the kids kind of rebel and they get mad. And the one kid, uh, which one was it? I think it was, yeah, Monda was grabbing the bear and it starts beeping. And one girl's like, throw it away. And the bear blows up. So, and then same said kid gets mad at, what is it? Aegi, and he knocks him out. So then he wakes up in his room with his friend from school there, Mazino. And she's like, yeah, I stay with you because, you know, just gonna watch over you. So,
No, you better go
well,
away. Don't trust nobody.
yeah, so while they're in there, everyone's looking for like a way out and stuff. And we find out like the food gets restocked daily and they have curfew from 10 to 7 a.m. And they're still looking for some ways out. And they should get to talking with uh, Monokuma. And he's like, oh, I see this is going to work because y'all don't have incentive. So then he proceeds to show everyone videos of their folks or whoever. And they say some pretty evil stuff in the videos, but we're not privy to that. And things happen to them. They start breaking down. And Mike and Mazzino runs out, starts crying. She's like, ah, I'm a crybaby. I can't do this. I gotta leave.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, I won't let any of us die. And so that was that in the episode. So,
Yeah.
yep.
At this
So,
point, I was convinced. I was like, nah. This seems about what I've watched.
yeah,
I
we
think you will
waited.
enjoy it though. I think it is something you'd like be able to put on the side and
I might enjoy it. I might not. Maybe
yeah.
it's Maybelline. But yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
You want to sandwich in
The manga.
Jujutsu?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Jujutsu, man. What can I say without prolonging it? They freed my boy Gojo. They freed him, but the freaking problem is he didn't appear where they freed him. Freaking what's his name? Senturu
Yeah.
or Seng
Yeah. Suguru.
Suguru rigged the box that if Gojo got freed, he'd spawn somewhere where they can take care of him. It was a freaking setup. Gojo got introduced with what should have been a joyful reunion with Yuji and pretty much just Yuji because Nobara's dead and Megami is now Sukuna
Allegedly dead.
allegedly dead. Instead, he got thrown to Suguru and freaking Sukuna and Megami and some other random that he disposed of quickly. But regardless, they were talking about how like the concept of time in that seal is not the same as out here. Like what could be a minute to us could be an eternity for him, or like what could be a month to us could be nothing to him. As time, like it could have just been a second. He could have felt like it was in there for a second. My man came out, and he looked like he came out ready to fight.
Yeah.
And the fight hasn't broken down yet, but there are a couple things about this that like I don't get. So like Gojo's out, and we're basically testing the waters. You know, Gojo took care of that one random that was just chilling around. It's gonna be him versus Sukuna and Seguro. But he was recalling that I think Megami asked him if Sukuna had ate all his fingers, could you win? And then he answers in person, yeah, I can do it. But I was just like, but does Sukuna have the power of his fingers? They're in Yuji's body. I don't know. I don't know. Yuji's the one who ate the fingers. Does he have 15 fingers worth of power right now?
Well, yeah, a few things. I don't. Maybe it's one of those ones like the cursed energy transfers. Like he's been storing up power or something. Maybe in Yuji. So you could have this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing I was thinking about was like they made a rule that like no new players could enter the colony. So I don't know if like the time space continuum thing, like did it actually count for him being in there? Because he can't enter in the games, but he could enter in the games. If that makes sense. Because if he was
Yeah,
in the box and they count it, then like okay, he can enter in. But if they don't count it, then it's like who knows?
but wasn't there a thing about like people who are already in the zone? Like if they don't want to participate, they can just go. But I guess technically Gojo was already in the zone, so he could be in the game and he could not be in the game if he chose. I think they
Yeah.
made too many
So
rules over the past fucking 50 chapters.
it's been longer than 50.
Yeah, yeah. There's been way too many rules.
Yeah, I'm like, huh.
I can't keep up with all of them.
Yeah, I can't keep up either. So I was like, what if he's not allowed in the game? I was like, who knows?
I think he should be fine. I think I remember the one because they tried to make it so that people who don't want to be involved weren't just stuck there and dying. So I think Megami and Yuji made a rule that they can just go,
Yeah.
which implied that people who are already in the area like automatically become players.
Yeah. But I mean, he did go a long time without killing any. Well, they changed that rule too.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see.
Now, do you want to talk about Boruto before we proceed?
I don't know. I feel like Boruto might could say that for last.
Okay. All right. Cool. It might. Yeah. All right. So I spoke. So now you go.
Yeah. Well, no, we just finished uh the Danganronpa. Unless you want to do Revengers or our daddy buddies.
We
Yeah, you
didn't
go ahead and do the Revengers.
do the Revengers.
Yeah, then do Daddy Buddy and finish up Boruto.
All right. So episode 6, Adversary Advent. This episode starts off with the old man in the shop, and very short scene with him. He ends up saying before we cut out that he thinks he was born to sell Raizo's drawings. So that's a pretty. That man's pretty passionate about these drawings.
They're decent drawings.
Yeah, I agree. They're good drawings, but
Yeah,
my man is moved,
I moved.
and I don't think either I wasn't listening or I don't think it was
I weren't
explained
listening.
yet that how or why Ewan was holding a coin that was bit, but he hid it from Neo for some reason. Did that coin ever get mentioned throughout that episode?
No,
Okay.
I don't even recall him having a coin.
Yeah, he had a gold coin that was bit that he was playing with as he was pondering outside, and then Neo showed up. But yeah, if my memory was right, they didn't use it at all that episode. So I don't know what's up with that coin. Maybe it's not a new one. But Ewan goes to
Yeah,
meet the pajama cop, and he's like breaking it down, like what's going on. Like the Chinese is looking for Rizo, and blah blah blah. You got to do this. They're gonna come for me next, and I don't want to be in the middle of this. Um, so we figure out that the Chinese want Rizo, and it has something to do with the opium.
yeah,
And when Rizo and Soji were leaving the shop, because the shopkeep gave Rizo like I guess a drawing pad, a new drawing pad, a new canvas for his art. They got attacked, and a couple of guys Soji recognized, and they were like, "We were hired to do it, and we're not here for you. We're here for your friend." But whatever, they left. So they tried to kidnap Rizo, and it was Chinese. And when everyone was addressing the fact, Rizo, they revealed that it has something to do with the opium, and they want you. And he decided he was just gonna face it head on. They were like, "What if they kill you?" And then so be it. My life doesn't matter anyway. I killed my father-in-law falsely and drove my fiance to kill herself. So he's still feeling a lot of guilt from
as he should.
hey, listen.
Stop being a blind sheep.
True, true, true. But I don't think I think he handled this a little too recklessly.
Yeah,
So he goes, he approaches the Chinese. Neo's watching, following him, watching his back. He's not aware of it. And the dude that he was approaching before he could react was behind him and knocked him unconscious. Okay. The Revenger group decide they can't kill anyone, but they can still rescue this man. So Rizo is tied up. He's being well, he's gonna be tortured, and then he starts getting tortured, and they're trying to get him to reveal where the opium is, and like he had nothing to do with the opium. It was just set up so there's a bunch of freaking opium somewhere because the Chinese didn't get it, and the the dude who set up Rizo is dead, and that might be the only person who knows where it is. Well, knew where it was.
yeah.
So, the dude with the long hair had to go take care of something, and leaves the guy with Rizo to torture him as he sees fit. Rizo's not really paying this dude any attention, and so he's like drowning him, and like the Avenger crew is invading, but they're not killing anyone. Doc Nekba like turned the boat over. Soji and Ewan, they knocked a couple people out, and then Soji goes down and tries to save Rizo, but he gets outpowered a little bit, and then has to like handle the fight a little more like with a thought process. But regardless, he wins his fight and like rescues Rizo. They all escape. The dude that left, that's I guess second in command with the Chinese, was like, "What's going on?" And it was like, "I promised you safety on the land, but that doesn't extend to the water." So kind of left them hanging on a technicality, and we now know the Chinese want Raizo, convince Raizo has the opium, and we know there's a crap ton of opium somewhere waiting to be found. Herbie,
What?
thoughts, comments, concerns?
Oh, nothing. It's a good old episode. Waiting on the opium to be founded. Don't know where it is. Shoot.
Yeah, I thought I had some. I thought I picked two bangers, and like they fell to like mid tier.
I wouldn't say they fell off mid tier.
They started hot, like they got my interest, and then it was just like, all right, okay. I'm not as interested as I was the first episode, but I'm interested enough to finish.
Yeah, I mean, Revengers, they're still setting up the main story, and
Too
High
long,
Card,
too long for like a 12 or 13 episode type of thing. Too long.
maybe. But yeah, yeah, High Card's not a bad one. You just hate seeing stuff that you perceive as filler, but I didn't really perceive that as filler.
Well, High Card is more so what they feel like to me is if Adventures has a story they want to tell but don't know how to get to it. Like they're just putting episodes in between and trying to tell a story. Whereas High Card feels like to me it's just um there's no cohesive story in there. It's just like, oh, what can we do now? This episode. What can we do this episode? What can we do this episode? And then like suddenly maybe the last three episodes of both are gonna get like deep into a plot.
Yeah.
That's how it feels to me. Not that I'm saying they're bad or anything. It's just like I just don't think they were thought all the way through.
Or maybe they just was thought on how they wanted to perceive to do what they wanted to do, I guess.
Possibly. Who am I to judge?
Who are you to judge?
No one.
Judgy McJudgy pants.
Damn.
Yeah.
That hurt.
It didn't hurt. But
It would if it
yeah,
could.
so yeah, it would not. So Buddy Daddies, season 1, episode 1, piece of
Buddy
cake.
daddies.
So it starts off with a man going to show some jewels to the Don. They're in the little warehouse. Then a man on a motorcycle is following him, and they notice this man, and they drop some spikes, um, in some kind of like slicker oil something, and then they start opening up fire. The man in a motorcycle starts opening fire on the car. I'm like, oh, and the way he was shooting, I was like, man, this man should have ran out of bullets already. I didn't see him reload. I tried to count the number of shots. I was like, that's definitely more than 30 he's letting loose there. But I digress on hyperrealism. And so he almost loses him on the freeway, and he ends up like jumping off a ramp onto some other stuff. I'm like, oh, he's getting there. And then so the driver, he's driving to the warehouse. He pulls up, and he kills a man there. And apparently, the man on the motorcycle and the driver were in on this together. I'm like, oh, so these are two buddies. Then they get the man in the warehouse and they start talking to him about the jewels and everything else that's going on. And then Daddy gets a call that Mary is sick of daycare. I'm like, oh man, now he gotta go. He gotta go get his daughter. And we found out Ray's on he's a motorcycle man. Man on a motorcycle. I didn't quite get the other guy's name yet, but we'll get to that.
Bro, that man was like, you sure you dropped her off okay? She had a cough or stuffed nose or something.
Yeah,
And you let her go?
Yeah. Like I told you, like he just he's like, yeah, whatever. Just a kid. Let her go. And then so we get some more story here. Oh boy, I'm gonna call him Bud because I forget his name. It's probably here somewhere else. And he's with this woman. He clones her ID, and then he comes back to the crib and Ray's there playing games. And he has a cat, which Ray has a habit of taking in strays. And then Blondie Man returns it, and he gives a whole lecture about the dangers of the profession, and you 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 shouldn't have a family because you don't know what's going to happen, which led me to believe that something had happened before
Mm-hmm. But
that caused him
damn,
to be
man,
jaded.
poor Ray bought tons of shit for that cat.
He did. You should have adopted it.
Nah, I'm cool.
Make it a trio, baby.
Nah, I'm definitely cool. It shouldn't have ever been a duo.
Dang. So then this is when we learn Blondie's name, Kazuki. And he's walking through the street after putting the cat out, and Fairy Lips. It's a gambling hall, and the girls entice him to get in there, and they clean my man out, take all his stuff,
He took
and
his
then he goes,
clothes.
yeah, took all his stuff, and then he goes and checks on the cat again, and then we flash to a young girl on the train. I'm like, oh, and now she's frolicking through the city, and they get their new mission, and their target is a human trafficker. I'm like, oh yeah, he deserves to go down. So, in order to get to the trafficker, he bakes a cake that he's going to deliver. And so he goes through the place. He gets through like all the stuff, and then this girl sees the cake because he's running the elevator. She's getting the elevator because she's supposed to go see her dad, and she runs the elevator. She's like, "Oh, cake! Can I have some?" He's like, "Yeah, I got some cake." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, it's so good!" And he's like, "Oh my gosh, someone's destroying my cake!" And I'm like, "Really? You just gonna show up with like a half-eaten cake? Like this girl, she's not like she didn't get like a piece and like eat it. She was eating like handfuls at a time." I'm like, man,
He didn't really question her being there either.
yeah, which I thought was like, he
And then
was
when
like,
she
"No,
said,
no, little girl."
and then when she said her story, I'm like, bro, what? That what?
Yeah, my mommy sent me here to see my daddy.
Alone? That's wild.
Yeah, I'm like, I would have never been able to go anywhere at that age by myself on a trade. Yeah. And then so, yeah. So then they're on the plane, or not the plane, the elevator, and they open the doors and she just runs out. And then two men are there, and Ray ends up shooting the two men, and Kazuki like goes and catches her before she gets shot by two people. So I'm like, huh. And then so they get to the main floor of the building, and Ray's like, "Which one's the kid?" And everyone just starts shooting in the hall. I'm like, "Oh man!" And Mira's like, "I gotta go find Papa." I'm like, "Really?" And then so she's fighting against the crowd. The human trafficker snatches her up, and Ray. This is one of my funny moments when Ray's like, "I got a shot through the kid." I was like, "Dang, you gonna shoot the kid to get to the guy?" Ruthless. Definition villain.
Freaking hell,
So
man.
yeah, and then Katsuki's like, "Oh," she's like, hey, I'm your Papa Miracle. Now come here." And he's like dodging through all these bullets and stuff, and he gets her, and the man ends up getting shot out the window. I'm like, huh, that's funny. And then so they leave, and she's like, "Oh, you gotta do what I say and act like how I want you to, Mira, so we can get out of here." So they leave, and this is when your flavor came in when he brought it back home. Like, oh. I can't have a cat, but you can have a kid,
Yeah.
which is funny. And then I'm thinking that that might actually be his kid
It could be.
because like she had pictures of the woman that he had seen a while ago
Mm-hmm.
or was seen a while ago. I'm like, oh, could be his kid.
And like he sends her money that she isn't taking.
Yeah,
Well, allegedly sends her money.
yeah. It could just be his ex partner that is denying him because she feels like he's responsible for their baby dying. Don't know. Don't really know, but yeah, that's how it went. It's pretty funny. Not as action packed as I like, but I figured I'd go some with a little light here that
No,
could have potential to be funny.
it's close to Spy Family.
Yeah, so that's what I went for. Hopefully, it will achieve. Now to get into this banger of a chapter of Boruto.
Yo, I smell a time skip.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen.
Not
I think
also not
it's
only a time skip, a time pause because next chapter ain't coming out till September.
well. It said August.
Whoa, August.
Yeah,
All right, it's a month sooner.
I didn't say when in August, which could basically be the last day of August, which is like September.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so, Boruto chapter 80. The lie that Boruto killed Naruto continues. Um, Sarada and the class rep, they don't seem to be affected. And Boruto, Kawaki will release Naruto after he's killed Boruto. And the class rep contacts Sarada. Is like, hey, I figured out what's going on. This has to be something Ida's doing. Like how we're not affected, like it's one of her world powers.
Mm-hmm.
And so everyone's still mad, talking about they gotta get Boruto, they gotta kill him. And Sarada, well, Sasuke ran up on Sarada, was like, "What? You okay? This, that, and the other." Like, go back to the village and rest. And I'm like, "Oh man, he's about to go kill his pupil."
Mm-hmm.
And then so Sarada asks Sasuke to listen to her and do a favor. And then when she looks up, she has her Mangekyo Sharingan.
I don't get that. Why does she have it?
'Cause, she definitely went through like immense pain and emotion. So, so this this is why I had some thoughts on this part. Like,
She 3 years too early for that.
well, I would say Itachi got his. Well, not the Mangekyo at that early. But yeah, she might be a little young.
Bro, Sasuke was just getting his third dot when she was that age.
Well, I wonder if it's gonna be like one of those ones where like she has them on Gekio, but like she doesn't have the steps leading up to it.
Yeah, like
Like,
she probably definitely does not have a Sasuno. But time
or
skip time skip
yeah,
coming.
yeah, or like she might just have the two dots. She's working on the third, but somehow that one just activated on its own.
I don't know, bro. I don't know because
But
last
it's
I recall she didn't. No, I think she has all six.
well, you only have three.
No, but like I'm talking in total, like 3 and 3, because
Yeah,
it looked like so like it didn't look like that was the case with Sasuke, but it looked like it was the case with Sarada. That like Sasuke, when he got a dot, he got it in both eyes, but Sarada looked like she was like had one in one eye and like two in the other at some point. But that might just be the anime throwing in some
yeah,
filler. You know what I mean? Some unwritten filler.
yeah. It could be, but I was thinking too. Like, could it be because Sasuke at the time had Senju and Uchiha blood. So maybe the terms are different where she doesn't have to murder her best friend to get him on Gekio. or like maybe the trauma of thinking about Boruto being killed, and murdered like that, brought it out. I'm not sure, but that's one I thought I had. Like, yeah, I'm like, huh. Is that the reason why? I'm trying to figure it out.
I don't know,
So
man. Shit's weird.
I was like, the Mangekyo. I was like, oh man. Yeah. So so then Boruto's still fleeing, and he's trapped by the Inoshika Sho formation, and Sasuke swoops in and saves him. And they get to talking to Boruto about this, that, and the other. And Ida's like, "Oh, there's something I got to do first before I go back to the village," and she leaves. And Boruto asks why Sasuke wanted to help him, and he's like, "Oh, because my daughter wishes it." She's like, he's like, if anything, I believe my daughter, and I don't believe you. And Sasuke kind of admits that like some of his memories aren't jiving the way they were, like they're different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he's not bothered by the fact that they're different, but he knows that he should be bothered by it. And like, Boruto has the headband that he gave him when they started, and so like it's stuff's not lining up how it should be. So
Yeah.
he kind of
Reality is not
understands.
meshing well with what his head is convincing him. And he even admits that he doesn't he didn't think that one day like his memory would be used as a weapon against him, but he's putting all his trust in Sarada for this exact moment.
Yeah. So
So that's kind of reckless of you, Sasuke. Like all plot aside, you're gonna risk the whole village on just trusting your daughter. That
I mean, I
is
would.
that is commitment.
Well, you gotta think about it too. Like with her awakening her Mangekyo, like that's a real strong emotion.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
So
yeah.
so, so like, because
But
she definitely didn't have it before. So it's like,
and they're gonna have to. So let's brainstorm here. Let's say the time skip is 2 to 3 years, like Shippuden, right? Hypothetically speaking, her and what's the class rep's name?
I don't know.
Her and the class rep are gonna have to pretend that they think Boruto is an enemy for the entire duration of this time skip.
I wouldn't even pretend. I'd be like, yo, y'all memories is false. This is what's going on here.
Couldn't they like volunteer to have one of the Eno's clan members look into their minds and like see that like, hey, these are the real memories. Like, what the hell do you guys think Naruto looks like? Because Boruto's a spitting image of that guy.
Well, yes, but I think like if their memories were just like overwritten.
Mm-hmm.
So like no matter if they looked in her memory, they'd be like, oh well, she must have been placed under genjutsu to see what's so seem like this, because that's the only logical explanation they would come up with. Because it's like one of those like mass hysteria ones where like if everyone thinks it's something one way and only two people think it's something the other way, then
The
they
majority is always
those
correct.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I use that as lead argument in some discussions I have.
yeah, I mean, but like sometimes the majority is actually wrong, but there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of times when the majority is wrong, but as long as it's the majority, it's gonna be perceived as right.
Yeah. So yeah, and Momoshiki's still trying to get Boruto's body, and then Ida shows up, and she was like, "I'm sorry, Boruto, for what it's worth. This, that, and the other. I didn't consciously do this," and so they figured it out. And I think this is what Sasuke is like, "Oh, he's telling the truth, but my memories still say he's a killer." so, so yeah, and Boruto's like, "I never really understood him before. Like I just kind of understood a little bit, but now I really
Nah, bro.
understand
Boruto
him.
says some wild shit.
Yeah,
I do not agree.
I was getting ready to get into to it, you know.
Go ahead, but I'm just making my stance clear early on. I do not agree with what you're about to say for Boruto.
Yeah. Well, nah, this is what he says. And he's like, yeah, like I understand now you're all alone and kind of understand how you feel. You've been this way for a while. People didn't like you for whatever reason. And then this is where he lost me right here. He's like, oh, it was due to my weakness in this situation that it came to this. I'm like, stop, bro. It was your weakness. This is Kawaki going off the rails trying to protect Naruto by wanting to kill you.
Yeah, bro, this is like Naruto losing a Sasuke all over again and like feeling bad that he failed Sakura. I was like, nah, bro, like
Yeah, I'm
Sasuke
like,
went
stop.
berserk.
Yeah, I'm like, stop. This is meant to happen. Like, I'm like, stop it, man. Get over it.
Or like in the episode in Shippuden when they finally saw Sasuke again, and it's like you still want to be Hokage, and Naruto's just like, how can I be Hokage when I can't even save one friend? Like that nigga don't want to be saved.
Sure don't.
He's going on
And
an
then
emotional emo journey. Just let him finish it.
yeah. And so and he's like, yeah, and he's like, this is like two brothers fighting. Like, I can't let a brother kill a brother. He's like, oh, we'll just call it a quarrel between siblings. Like, no, bro, this is full on. He's gonna kill you if he gets a chance. It's
Yeah,
not
the
a
man's got a
quarrel.
whole village looking to slaughter you,
Yeah,
and it's okay with it.
yeah. I wonder how Himawari if she realizes the whole situation yet.
I wish. Listen, I understand there's gonna be a time skip. Like, I completely expect that the chapter to drop sometime in August to have skipped X amount of time because this is a training cycle. They're not
I
gonna
would like
show
to
you.
see him train.
I want to. I want to see little scenes on how he's training. I want to see some scenes on like how everyone is adapting to this, how they perceive Kawaki. I want to see them interact with because like I want to see how Kawaki interacts with the village for a little bit, but mainly I want to see Boruto on his journey with Sasuke because it's gonna be almost parallel to Naruto traveling with Jiraiya, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but only Boruto is the most wanted ninja in Konoha at the moment.
I would like to see him train. I feel like that would be different because you didn't really get you got snippets of that, but I would like to see him like train through the time skip for like at
That
least the first year.
that's what I want to do. Like if you're gonna postpone for we're in the end of May, so you got um
In the April.
April. I'm sorry, April. So you got May, June, July, and then August. If it's the end of August, you got 4 months. You could release 2 chapters within the 4 months, just showing the training. You don't have to put too much freaking detail into it because it's just training. We're not doing any missions. We're not. This is Boruto preparing to fix this, and I don't know how the hell he's gonna do it because he still has to convince the entire village that he didn't kill his dad. But it should be done. We never
Yeah.
we didn't majorly other than the Shippuden, we didn't majorly skip any training arcs in Naruto.
Yeah. He just showed up and Naruto was a grown man almost.
Yo, the growth spurt is like crazy,
Yeah.
but
But yeah, I'm excited to see what goes on.
that was a banger of a
Yeah,
chapter.
also yeah, Ida makes a promise not to look for Boruto till he comes back to the village. So even though she's omniscient, she's not gonna spy for them. Which those people should realize something's up if she's not gonna spy to help out. And she said she's doing it because Kawaki's acting like a coward.
Well,
So
If anyone should realize that something's
So,
up, it should be Shikamaru. With
yes.
enough time, Shikamaru should realize, and that's something I want to see. I want to see if the time skip is 2 years. I want to see Shikamaru realize with somewhere between the 2 years that like this math ain't mathing. Something
Yeah.
ain't adding up. Kawaki, I don't know how, but I have a feeling Kawaki is actually the one that we should be worried about at the moment.
Yeah, because I feel like if anything, might be another 3 year time skip, and I feel like Boruto's birthday is probably soon, so he's like getting ready to turn 13, and then when he comes back, he'll be 15, getting ready to turn 16, or either be 16, getting ready to turn 17.
Mm-hmm. So,
But yeah, whew.
so we got to see. Okay, so from the context clues, all right. So let's go under the assumption that we're approaching a time skip. We have to assume, or let's I'm sorry, the time skip. Let's assess the first set of panels where it's Boruto versus Kawaki, and like the village pretty much looks like it's in ruin. Now I want to know: did the ruin happen between the time skip and Boruto just came back to settle things with Kawaki, or is the village in ruin because Boruto came back and they had to destroy the village to try to capture this dude? Like, these are things that would be nice to know.
Yeah. Well, we'll never know. Won't know for a while. Another montage.
Yeah, we're gonna get time skip with flashbacks.
Probably.
Yeah, that's probably most likely what's gonna happen. We're gonna get the immediate time skip, and then every couple chapters you'll get a flashback.
Yeah.
But
Who knows?
anything else you want to discuss, Urbe?
Uh, that's about it. Excited for Boruto. Hopefully it would go well.
Yes, yes, me too.
Yeah.
Guys, if you don't know already, new chapters to Solo Leveling Out. From focusing on the sun. Give it a read. It's really fast paced so far, and I'm really curious as to what his actual main goal is going to be. Considering Jinwoo already, without saying much, Jinwoo already did the thing that he did. So we'll see.
Will we see?
Well, I will. You'll listen to eventually.
Maybe.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed, you know what to do, and we'll catch you next week. Peace.
Peace.